What is going on, people? TripleM back again with another video. It's daily dose of football content, and tonight I've got a very short and sweet video for you guys discussing some comments that have been leaked surrounding Harry Maguire. Now, to be clear, this isn't Harry Maguire himself. I believe this is people in his camp and people close to him, and the source of this information is Mark Ogden, who's a senior writer for the ESPN. So whether or not you want to believe this is completely up to you, and you're welcome to let me know your thoughts respectfully, of course, in the comments down below. But let's get into it. First and foremost, there's this comment that says that Harry Maguire hasn't had a good 12 months, but he hasn't been helped by the people around him. And they're talking about coaches and players. So not just players, not just the other 10 men on the field who've been with him, but also the coaching staff, which is interesting because for most of Harry Maguire's time at Manchester United, he's been coached by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and co. So I wonder what that says about the previous manager. Remember, when Anthony Martial spoke about the previous manager, he was being an absolute egotistical, narcissistic blame shifter. I wonder what they'll say about Harry Maguire, who's also taking shots at not only our current coach, but the previous coaching staff as well. Anyways, I digress. So it's inevitable that his confidence and form have suffered. There's also another one, which I'll scroll up to over here, where he basically says Harry Maguire's frustration is with David De Gea, his lack of communication, his lack of distribution, and his reluctance to defend further away from his goal. In other words, not being a very good sweeper keeper. Now, there's many other comments out there, but I thought that those two were the most interesting and the ones that stood out to me the most because, again, one thing I've spoken about on this channel and many other Manchester United fans have spoken about on the internet is that there is a blame-shifting culture at Manchester United. There is a lack of leadership and there is a lack of accountability within that dressing room. And I think we're seeing that with the Manchester United captain. Now, again, if you don't want to believe this, that's completely up to you. You have every right to say that Mark Ogden isn't being accurate here and that he's just fabricating stuff. If you're one of those fans, please indulge me and let me know in the comments down below. But I personally don't think that this is that surprising. I don't think this is that far-fetched. In fact, I think this is quite the norm in the Manchester United dressing room because that current crop of players don't know anything about actually taking accountability for their mistakes. And look, I completely understand that the players around a defender or a midfielder or an attacker can have an influence on their performances. I completely get that. But my issue with a lot of people who defend Harry Maguire and a lot of people who try to make it seem like Harry Maguire is a victim of the system and is a victim of a lack of cohesion in the back four, those very same people don't afford those excuses to other players such as Donny van de Beek, such as Jadon Sancho, such as Paul Pogba before he left, such as Anthony Martial when he went through a bad period, right? There's so many players in that Manchester United team who have struggled, and lots of Manchester United fans have absolutely hounded them out and said that it's 100% down to their individual quality. But as soon as it's Harry Maguire, all of a sudden we apply the context of maybe the system isn't conducive to getting the best out of his abilities. Maybe the people playing next to him don't compliment him. And I find that a bit unfair. And by the way, I'm somebody who praised Harry Maguire in preseason. So before anybody says I have an agenda and before somebody clicks off this video, this is not a hate agenda against Harry Maguire. I praised him during preseason. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. In fact, the first two games before we played Brentford and got smashed 4-0 and before we lost to Brighton, I said that Harry Maguire was going to have a good season. And my reason for that and my justification behind that is that he had Lisandro Martinez next to him, a defender who was aggressive, a defender who likes to drift out of position and take the responsibility to cut off not only crosses, but try to cut off balls that are, line-breaking passes. Somebody who has the recovery pace to move up and down and can afford to leave his position because he knows he's got the athleticism to come back. I thought having someone like that next to Maguire would bring out the best in him. So I genuinely believe that. And by the way, I'm not changing my mind based on two games because Varane will inevitably get injured. Even though he's my favorite player at the club, we know that he has an issue with fitness. So whether we like it or not, Maguire will get chances this season. You have to accept that. And I think that he will be a better player next to Martinez. Will he be better than Varane? Of course not. But he will be a better version of himself. And that's what I genuinely believe. The only reason I'm bringing that up is so that people don't say I have some sort of Harry Maguire agenda and that, I just hate on Harry Maguire. I am pretty consistent across the board. When Anthony Martial came out and did his comments about Jose Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, as well as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I defended him and I said, yes, even though he has to take personal responsibility for some of his poor performances, there definitely is a bigger issue at play. And it's the same with a lot of other Manchester United players. I just have an issue with the double standards from our fan base and the double standards from the media. Because when it's Harry Maguire, yeah, blame the people around him, blame the system, blame the fact that, he's been under a lot of pressure, blame online abuse, blame everything under the sun except him not being good enough. But when it's other players, all of a sudden, they're just not good enough to wear a red shirt. And I think it's wrong. And as for whether or not I feel sorry for Harry Maguire individually, look, I think every Manchester United player was a victim of bad coaching under the previous regime. And I'm not going to change that opinion just because it's Harry Maguire. But I do think as captain of Manchester United Football Club, he has to take responsibility. That's non-negotiable. As a captain of a football club, any club in the world, whether it's a rugby club, a cricket club, a Rocket League club, whether you're in esports, Any club, right? You have to take responsibility. You cannot blame extenuating circumstances, because that makes you look weak. That makes you look like somebody who's blame shifting. And that doesn't rub off well on your teammates and your coaching staff when you're literally blaming them publicly, mind you, even though it's not you directly saying it. It's people from your camp, and it's coming through very credible journalists who have positions in the media. You know, like, it's just going to cause a storm. It's going to cause issues. So the best thing you can do as a captain, even if you don't believe it, is take accountability and responsibility for your bad performances, because at least then the fans will be on your side, or are more likely to be on your side, because they can say, hey, this guy's a leader. This guy doesn't hide. This guy doesn't go missing when it's a post-match interview. He actually takes accountability. He doesn't shift the blame. He doesn't avoid answering difficult questions. He actually owns up to his shortcomings. And that's what you want in a Manchester United captain. You want that Roy Keane energy. You want somebody who is going to tell it like it is. And that doesn't mean throwing people under the bus. That means being honest and brutal about your own performances and your own implications, and why Manchester United had their worst season in the Premier League last season. Anyways, it's been your boy TripleM. I'm going to end the video there. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace.